guys, welcome back to RocketGyan today. First of all, yeah. So guys, welcome back to RocketGyan. As you know, today is the second launch of the day. First we saw the Rocket Labs launch, and now we have the Starlink mission of the SpaceX, the most awaited mission. Not the most awaited one, but the prestigious mission for the SpaceX. First of all, today the Starlink mission is kind of a different one because today not only Starlink will be as a payload, but three other satellites of the SkySat will be as a payload. That those other satellites are basically uh, Earth imaging satellites. Okay, that's the thing. So if you don't know about SpaceX, man, you should know about SpaceX. But no worries, I'll let you know. So this is the SpaceX. Okay, this is um yes, yes, I'm here. So here we have the SpaceX Starlink mission is the upcoming one, and we are returning human space flight to the uh, they are returning human space flight to the United States, and they have already done that with the Demo 2 mission, which is in progress since it will be completed when the Dragon 2 capsule will splash down near Atlantic. So yeah, have you played this Crew Dragon docking simulator? This is so good, and it is actually what do you say, made to be done like that. The actual docking procedure is in this. How you will be able to dock with the International Space Station? It is like that only. So if you haven't played this game till now, what are you waiting for? You should play this game, guys. This is so epic one. I was unable to dock with the in my first try, but in the second try I was able to dock with it easily. And also, why is it available on the website? This docking simulator is available on the website. If you ask me the question, this is because the SpaceX UI, the Crew Dragon UI, which was made in the Dragon capsule, was based on Chromium and JavaScript, and these are the two platforms which are web based. So that's why they were able to release this application online. And yeah, this is the an optimized starship. This is a thing which needs to be talked about later on, and requires a hell amount of time, so we should just skip it. Now we should just look into the payload profile, the Starlink mission profile. So as you know, the Starlink mission itself is a wait a sec. Yeah. So the Starlink mission, basically, what SpaceX wants to accomplish with Starlink mission. With Starlink mission, the SpaceX basically wants to deliver the low latency internet connection all over the world. And this is the mission profile which will happen today. So first will be the launch, then will be the ascent, then will we have the Mi- MECO, main engine cutoff, stage separation, second engine startup, and after the second engine startup, it will just go the second stage will just go away. And for the first stage, after some time, after it reaches apogee, it will perform a flip maneuver to rotate the second stage, the first stage, with the retrograde position, and then it will have one entry burn here to basically slow it down so it does not re-enter the atmosphere harshly. And then with the fins on it, the aerodynamic guidance will be there to actually guide it to the drone ship, and then finally the first stage will propulsively land on the drone ship. That's the thing, and these are the countdowns. We should not worry about this countdown. And now we should go and have a look at Starlink itself. So what payload do we have right now? The payload we have here with the Starlink. What is Starlink? What the SpaceX wants to achieve through this is basically that. Um, Wait a sec. Let me just open it in my, yeah. So here we are. Yeah. So high speed internet across the globe where the internet where the wires can't reach. satellites can reach because it orbits the Earth. So that's why that's the benefit of it. And SpaceX is planning for 42,000 constellation of satellites to cover all over the globe and provide high-speed internet to everyone. um, they want to keep the space. Okay, the normal satellites which provide today internet are at 1000 kilometer plus altitude, but the Starlink will be at 550 kilometer altitude, which will provide a hence providing a low latency network. Also, after they reach their what do you say, the working lifetime, since it is a low atmosphere, they are in the low Earth orbit. They can just perform, they don't even need to perform a deorbit maneuver. They can just remain there, and after some time their orbit will gradually decrease, and then they will burn in the atmosphere. That's the beauty of low Earth orbit. Okay, these are the antenna and this is the constellation. Less space, more contact, that's the one thing. Yeah, this one. So less mass, more compact, and yeah, that's the thing. So now we should just go and have a look at the Falcon 9 rocket itself. The Falcon 9 rocket uh, itself is a beauty of SpaceX. How much I'll talk about it is the less only. So see, it is okay, cool. Yeah. So Falcon 9 is the first orbital class rocket capable of reflight. That's the thing, because no other space industry in this world right now has the capability to reuse the flown boosters. So 85 in total launches they have, and 46 total landings, and 32 reflown rockets. That's a great achievement. And reusability is the key factor to uh, reduce the cost in the space industry. So here we have the overview of the Falcon 9 rocket. This is the Falcon 9 rocket which will be having today, and payload to low Earth orbit is 22.8 tons. Okay, that's the capacity of this big rocket. And the geotransfer orbit is 8.3 tons, and the payload, it can directly transfer the payload to Mars too, and that is 4 tons, around 4 tons. That's so good, right? And then we have the first stage, Falcon 9 first stage. The Falcon 9 first stage, yeah, uh, yes, this is the first stage, and it is basically powered by 9 Merlin one-day engines. And here we have the landing legs, and here we have the grid fins, which is able to maneuver it in the aerodynamic re-entry. And also this is the interstage, and yeah. So the if I talk about the engines are basically there are 9 Merlin engines which produce a huge amount of thrust. And why did the SpaceX choose 9 Merlin engines? Only like traditionally we had one engine, or max to max two, or max to max two. But 9 Merlin engines they chose because they did it because they have the technology to consider that if some engine fails, then they can quickly change the orientation of other engines so as to compensate for that failure. So if there was one engine only, and if that failed, then nothing could happen. But there are 9 engines, so the failure, if some failure happens also in flight, then also the other engine cannot cope. So we have the chief launch sheet, so I should be able to review that, watching that. So here we are, guys. The SpaceX is live, and now we'll be able to see actual deployment of like today, hopefully, and hopefully nothing goes wrong. So yeah, I was talking about the Falcon 9 rocket, and those Merlin engines. Those are basically, okay, first of all, we should, yeah. So I was talking about the 9 Merlin engines, right? That is a plus point for the SpaceX, because if anyone fails, then other engines can compensate for the failure. by burning for extra long. That's the thing, and that's the thing. And now, uh, and the for the second stage, it has one Merlin engine which is vacuum optimized. For vacuum, making it vacuum optimized, it has a big bell nozzle, which is which is needed to reduce the exhaust pressure so as to match the vacuum, and actually that increases the efficiency of the rocket. That's why. So you just stay with me, and I'll be giving you all the insights of the SpaceX which they don't tell us and which sometimes we don't understand. So I am here to make you understand everything. Stay with me. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't, because I cover every other space launch or various space industries. So just subscribe. Subscribe if you haven't. Just subscribe. And we are just waiting for the streams to start up, and hopefully it will start in some time now. Fully in 30 seconds or so, if I'm not wrong. Once it goes live, then I'll increase the sound too. Although it is live, but yeah, and the sound go went away. Yeah, so guys, I'm back, and yeah, I was talking about the 9 Merlin engine and the one Merlin engine of the second stage. That one Merlin engine is so huge. Basically, the well is so huge, which we don't. We in the live stream it appears to be so small, but in actual size, that is so big. And here we are. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff, Falcon 9.
Good morning. It's Saturday, June 13th, and you are looking at a live view of Falcon 9 as it awaits its 5:21 a.m. Eastern Time launch from Cape Canaveral Space Launch Complex 40 in Florida. Hello from SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. My name is Jesse Anderson, and I'm a lead manufacturing engineer here at SpaceX. You're watching a live webcast for our 9th Starlink mission and our 10th mission this year. It's been just 10 days since our last Starlink launch, which was also from Pad 40. For those keeping track, that's a SpaceX record for the fastest pad turnaround. From launch to launch, we're looking at a remarkable 9 days, 7 hours, and 56 minutes. To date, we've launched over 480 Starlink satellites to orbit. And as a reminder, Starlink is a constellation of satellites that can provide high-speed, low-latency internet all over the globe, particularly in remote or rural areas where connectivity is limited or completely unavailable. And we have another notable first to mention. Today's mission marks our first SmallSat Rideshare mission on a Starlink launch. Our customer, Planet, who is the operator of the largest constellation of Earth observation satellites, is sending up 3 high-resolution satellites on this mission. These 3 SkySats will be joining 15 already in orbit, and 3 more will be deploying on a separate Starlink mission later this summer, which will complete their fleet of 21 SkySats. What's really quite remarkable is the contract for the rideshare was signed just 6 months ago. As part of our new rideshare program, we're offering sun-synchronous orbit missions approximately 3 times a year and have a frequent launch opportunities to mid-inclination. For details or to reserve your spot, head over to our website, spacex.com/rideshare. In order to make room for Planet's 3 SkySats, instead of launching 60 Starlink satellites, as we've traditionally done in the past, today we'll be sending 58 into low Earth orbit. Planet's SkySats will deploy in 3 sequential maneuvers beginning at about 12 minutes after liftoff, and the Starlink satellites will deploy approximately 14 minutes later, or 26 minutes after liftoff. Now, we won't see the Starlink satellites deploy today since we will not have ground station coverage at that time. However, we will keep the webcast going until we reconnect with the satellites at about T+39 minutes to get confirmation of a successful deployment. So we're at T-8 minutes and 10 seconds and counting, and all systems are go for an on-time liftoff this morning. If for any reason there is a hold on the countdown today, we do have a backup launch window opportunity tomorrow at 4:59 a.m. Eastern.
So guys, today hopefully we'll be able to witness a spectacular
On your
launch.
screen is Falcon 9. This is our 2-stage liquid fuel launch vehicle, getting ready for launch from Space Launch Complex 40, or SLIC 40. Falcon 9 stands 70 meters tall, which is greater than the wingspan of a 747 aircraft. Today's flight will be the 3rd flight for this booster. It previously supported our most recent cargo Dragon missions, CRS-19 and CRS-20.
So
The bottom 2/3 of the vehicle is the first stage, and if you look closely, you can see the soot markings still on the vehicle from its previous 2 flights. The first stage has 9 Merlin engines that do the bulk of the work to get Falcon 9 off the ground and up into the thinner parts of the Earth's atmosphere before separating from second stage and making its way back down to Earth for landing. Today, we will be attempting to recover this first stage for the 3rd time on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, which you can see there on your screen, is out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, about 350 nautical miles northeast of our Cape Canaveral, Florida launch site.
So,
On top of the first stage is the interstage, which is that black segment of the vehicle. And the reason it's black compared to the rest of the vehicle is because it is unpainted TPS, or thermal protective system, which protects the composite material that the interstage is made of. The interstage is what connects the stage 1 to stage 2, and as well protects the second stage's single Merlin vacuum engine during launch. That Merlin vacuum, or MVAC engine, ignites after the first stage separates, propelling the second stage along with the SkySats and Starlink satellites into an elliptical orbit above the Earth's surface. From there, the SkySat Rideshare satellites will separate, and about 14 minutes later, the 58 SpaceX Starlink satellites will deploy.
So guys,
Falcon 9 has been loading propellant since T-35 minutes. And as a reminder, Falcon 9 uses rocket-grade kerosene, or RP1, as our fuel, and super chilled liquid oxygen, or LOX, as our oxidizer. Currently, RP1 and LOX are nearly fully loaded on both stages, and LOX will continue to be topped off right until the last minute of the countdown. The stack of 58 Starlink satellites and 3 SkySats are safely enclosed inside of that 17-foot diameter payload fairing that you can see on your screen, which is that structure at the very top of the rocket. This protects the satellites from aerothermal heating, aerodynamic loads, and contamination during ascent. Once we reach the vacuum of space, we no longer need them, and we will jettison the fairing halves while the second stage continues to orbit. The fairing halves we are using today flew on previous but separate missions. One half flew on JCSat 18 in December of 2019, and the other half flew on our first Starlink launch in January earlier this year. Now, we will be attempting to recover the fairing halves today using our recovery ships Mystery and Mischief. There you can see them on your screen. At approximately T+40 minutes, the team will perform a poll to confirm if we're all good to make a safe catch attempt. Weather plays a big factor in the go, no-go decision for the catch attempt, as it can impact not only the sea states for the boats, but also the fairing's altitude, position, and speed, which impact how the fairing will fall back to Earth. Now, we've been keeping an eye out on some thick layer clouds for this morning's launch, but currently weather is looking good for T0. The vehicle, satellites, weather, and range are all looking good for an on-time liftoff, just about 3 minutes and 45 seconds from now.
And yeah,
For those of you that don't know much about the Starlink program, our mission is to bring high-speed, low-latency internet to people all over Earth. And every one of these Starlink missions gets us closer to achieving that goal. Some of the most exciting opportunities for Starlink are locations where traditional fiber or cable is simply not practical, such as rural or remote communities. It's also an exciting place for where fiber and cable are impossible, such as aircrafts or cruise ships. This is a big endeavor, and we have a lot of work ahead of us, but today's launch gets us one step closer to these ambitions. On our last Starlink mission just over a week ago, we captured some really cool footage of fairing deploy, which we wanted to share with you today. And there you can see on your screen the fairing deploy. You can see the second stage clearly with the Starlink satellites making their way to their targeted orbit. One of my favorite videos that I've seen so far. If you're interested in getting future news about Starlink, about our Starlink service, head over to starlink.com and sign up for updates. We're currently at T-minus 2.5 minutes from liftoff, and Falcon 9 is now moving into the final stages of the countdown. The first and second stages are both nearly fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. Super chilled liquid oxygen, which, as I mentioned earlier, is our propellant oxidizer. And that's what's creating those white clouds around Falcon 9 that you see on your screen there, and that's when it gets exposed to the warmer ambient air. First stage finished prop loading at T-minus 3 minutes and second stage at T-minus 2 minutes. And coming up at T-minus 60 seconds, there will be a call out that Falcon 9 is in startup. This means that the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers have taken over the launch countdown. Then at about T-minus 2 seconds, the Merlin engines will light and liftoff will be commanded at T0. The Starlink payload continues to be healthy. The Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket. Weather is still looking good, and the range is green for launch. And as I mentioned, we are at T-minus 1 minute and about 15 seconds here. So at T-minus 1 minute, we will hear that call out for Falcon 9 being in startup. And from then on, the vehicle will basically autonomously make the decision if we will be launching today.
So yeah, that's the thing. So that's why we will be able to see, hopefully,
Falcon 9's in startup.
Footage of re-entry.
And there's that confirmation that Falcon 9 is in startup. Next up at T-minus 45 seconds, we should hear the call out for a go for launch.
LD is go for launch.
And there's that call out for go for launch. So as we're approaching T0, it is T-minus 35 seconds. Let's watch and listen into the nets and watch this liftoff of our Starlink payload with our planet's SkySats.
If you haven't subscribed, just subscribe, because in this channel you will find every other launch and various other videos on space-related topics.
T-minus 15 seconds.
Falcon 9 configured for flight.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of Falcon 9 and Starlink 8.
T plus 40 seconds into flight, and Falcon 9 has just had a successful liftoff. A successful liftoff from pad 40 for its first Starlink rideshare, carrying 3 Planet SkySats and our SpaceX Starlink satellites. Next coming up will be Max Q, and that is the maximum aerodynamic pressure that the vehicle sees, the largest structural load that the vehicle sees throughout ascent.
once it passes, it almost means that the vehicle is capable of doing all the whole mission basically. So it passes. So
Max
here we
Q.
have the onboard camera, and we are going.
And there's
to
that
Max
call out
Q.
that we just passed through Max
Passed.
Q.
Okay, so we just passed.
Next
That's
up
so
will
good.
be 3 events happening back to back, and that will be MECO, or main engine cutoff, stage separation, as well as second engine start, or SES1. Main engine cutoff, or MECO, is when all 9 of the M1D engines shut off and slow the vehicle down in preparation for the next event, which is stage separation. And stage separation is where the first stage separates from the second stage, with first stage making its way back to Earth and second stage taking our satellites to their targeted orbit. And then finally will be SES1, which is second engine start, with that MVAC engine lighting up and taking those
Vehicle is following a nominal trajectory.
and taking those satellites to orbit.
Trajectory.
Now those 3 events are coming up here in about 15 seconds. Again, that is MECO, stage separation, and SES1.
Just wait for the spectacular sightings of the separation as well as of the re-entry. Hopefully we'll be able to get it. Because SpaceX must be working on networking. And there's the MECO and
Stage separation confirmed.
Cool. And second engine start. Stop. Here we go.
And there, as you saw live on your screen, MECO, main engine cutoff, and stage separation. First stage being on your left screen. On your right screen is second stage with that MVAC engine glowing bright red there. On your left screen, you can see those grid fins deploying on the first stage. Those grid fins help.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And fairing deployed.
And we just had fairing separation. We had a successful deployment of those fairing halves. Let's see if Miss Tree and Miss Chief can make a catch attempt
Vehicle
today.
continues to follow a nominal trajectory.
And as I was mentioning, the grid fins have deployed. That helps guide that first stage back to its landing zone.
And we can see such a beautiful beautiful view of today's sun rising from the horizon, and here we can see the all Falcon 9 first stages coasting down towards the Earth, and cold gas thrusters just working so as to
Acquisition of signal Bermuda.
Yeah. And now hopefully we won't be getting a camera cut.
Stage 2 is still looking good. We're getting a nice bright view of first stage on your left screen.
I haven't seen such a beautiful view.
And coming up next for first stage, as it makes its way back to Earth, it will perform a couple of burns, the first of which will be the entry burn. And that entry burn is where 3 of the 9 Merlin 1D engines light up and slow the stage down as it re-enters back into the upper part of the Earth's atmosphere. The second burn is called the landing burn, and this is when the single engine on the vehicle, the E9 engine, ignites and brings the vehicle speed down rapidly in order to land on the drone ship. And again, we are attempting to land on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, today. We're getting a nice bright view. I believe that is the sun hitting that first stage on your left screen there. So really, really cool view of that. Second stage is still looking good. That is on your right screen.
Second stage is also having such a beautiful, whenever the SpaceX launches in the night time, we always witness.
And at T plus 5.5 minutes, we're just about 1 minute and 15 seconds or so away from that entry burn beginning on that first stage.
Right now it is just balancing itself and facing retrograde to slow itself down so it does not harshly hit the atmosphere.
Vehicle continues to follow a nominal trajectory.
There's that call out that the second stage vehicle is still on a good trajectory.
Falcon 9 is performing the pitch maneuver.
And again, that first stage is making its way back to our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You. with the entry burn coming up here in about 30 seconds or so.
Wow. Spectacular, magnificent view. Wow, it's really wow. And now we can see the plasma effects too, if I'm not wrong.
Again, if you're just now joining us, what you can see on your left screen is first stage with those grid fins deployed, guiding the vehicle back to its landing zone.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
Now entry burn will start in a bit and started.
Stage 1 entry burn has started.
And there you can see that the entry burn has begun. It's
Contact
lighting up that
from
screen pretty bright there.
Falcon 9.
The entry burn will last about 20 seconds long.
Please don't lose the signal because we want to see the plasma effect. Yes. Till now we didn't lose the
And
signal.
that completes the entry burn for first stage.
And please
We
don't
have a
lose
really
it now.
cool view
Actually,
of Earth in the background of first stage. That is an awesome view.
now see the re-entry effect.
Stage 2 is still looking good.
And
We're just about a minute away from that landing burn.
First stage from the Cape.
no problem. We have the drone ship view
And we did hear that
you'll
call
be
out that we did
able
lose
to
that
see
live
the landing
signal
from
of the
here.
first stage as expected. Coming up here in at about T plus 8 minutes and 21 seconds will be the beginning of the landing burn. Landing burn will last about 20 seconds long, and then hopefully we'll get to see first stage touch down on our drone ship. Of course, I Still Love You.
Stage 1 is transonic.
Sonic, yeah, now it is.
And about 10 seconds after landing of the first stage will be SECO 1 on second stage. So we will have a couple events happening very close to each other. So we'll listen in and wait for those call outs.
Okay. Guys, if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Just subscribe. Hit the subscribe button right now. And
Stage 2 has entered terminal guidance.
now the landing.
Stage 1 landing burn has started.
And that landing burn has begun on the first stage. Again, this will last about 20 seconds long. Let's wait and watch to see if we can land this booster
Stage
for
2
a third
FTS
time.
is saved.
Lightning up because of the flash of the engine fluid.
Stage 1 landing legs have deployed.
And landing legs deployed. And do we lose the signal and
Wow, and we got a live awesome view.
And
touchdown.
stage 1 has landed. Landing operators
Stage
proceed to
1 has
11.100
landed.
on recovery 1 and ECF 9.
And there you heard that call out, and you can see on your left screen that stage 1 has landed on Of Course I Still Love You.
This is so cool, man.
We are waiting for stage 2 for SECO 1, which is second engine cutoff. What an awesome view of that first stage.
Actually.
Nominal orbital insertion.
All right, starting TX Prime RF1A on.
We did confirm SECO and confirmed good orbit. So now that second stage is going to coast in this orbit for a few minutes. We're going to take a quick break and return back at T plus 11 minutes and 30 seconds for the deployment of Planet's 3 SkySats.
So guys, that was such a spectacular launch. Did you see that? And there is more to it. It is just not finished yet. First of all, guys, tell me, have you ever seen such a beautiful launch, beautiful sightings of everything? And now Falcon, the second stage is basically performing a spin maneuver, which is basically an engineering method to separate all the satellites on as a payload, because during a spin maneuver, various satellites are at various heights, and uh, they are moving at different velocities. And when the second stage will separate the payload, they will be having the separate velocities, and because of the separate velocities, they will separate. Okay, because of the different velocities, they will separate from themselves. But yeah, this also means that they can collide with themselves, but it's okay. They are robust in nature. They have the Starlings are made in robust in nature, that if they collide or bump into each other, then also nothing serious happen. That's why, see, you can see also that the second stage is spinning around so as to give it a little bit of velocity to the satellite, angular velocity to the satellite, which will basically separate all of them. We now have the beautiful view of the horizon from the earth in the background and the second stage too. See what I was talking about. You can see the engine right now, right? It does not look to be too great, too big, or too enormous, but believe me, it is
Welcome
too
back to the
enormous.
webcast for
Okay,
Starlink. So
welcome
far
back.
this morning, we had an on-time liftoff of our Falcon 9
And
vehicle,
here's the
a
sun.
good stage
Oh
separation
my
with first
god.
stage making its way and touching down on, of course, I Still Love You, which is the third landing for this booster. And second stage is still looking good. It is coasting and getting ready to deploy Planet's 3 SkySats. And as a reminder, today marks our first Starlink rideshare mission for our customer Planet. And it's worth mentioning that we may not actually see the deployment of these due to their placement on top of the Starlink stack, where we don't have cameras positioned. So we may have to rely on confirmation over the nets. So you can see on your screen, this is the view of the Starlink satellites, and the 3 SkySats are sitting on top of them.
No problem. We'll see if we can have the live view or not. And now the SkySat will deploy. The first SkySat will deploy.
Should be hearing a call out for the first SkySat shortly here.
SkySat 1 separation confirmed.
And there's that confirmation that that first
SkySat
SkySat
moving
has
too.
deployed. Now these 3 SkySats.
We can see that. We can actually see that.
Oh, and it looks like we can actually see there's that first SkySat satellite. Pretty awesome view. We should hear a call out for the second one here shortly. They're deploying in about 30-second increments here.
SkySat 2 separation confirmed.
And there's the confirmation for the second SkySat. And since we saw the first one, I think we should be able to see that second one shortly here as well.
We can see the second one too.
And there you can see it. Very cool views today. Now we just are waiting for that third and final SkySat here shortly.
SkySat 3 separation confirmed.
And there's confirmation of separation of that final SkySat. These 3 SkySats will be joining 15 already in orbit, and 3 more will be deploying on a separate Starlink mission later this summer, completing their fleet of 21 SkySats. Now stage 2 is going to continue to coast in this orbit for a few more minutes. During this time, it will start to spin on its central axis, giving the Starlink satellites the momentum that they need to space themselves out over time after they deploy at T+26 minutes. And as I mentioned earlier, because we will not have ground station coverage at time of deployment, we will not have visual or audio confirmation of a successful deploy until we reach the next station at Diego Garcia about 25 minutes from now. So with that, we're going to take another break here and return back at T+38 minutes so that we can confirm live a successful deployment of our 58 Starlink satellites.
Guys, first of all, hit the subscribe button, share, like, and share this stream, because I will be streaming one more rocket launch, which will be happening at around 4:13 p.m. EDT. I have that this stream created on my channel. That is basically Japanese private rocket company launching its rocket, sounding rocket. So yeah, if you want to subscribe, because many more launches as well as space will be coming on the channel. You won't be regretting of it. That's the thing. And yeah, right now, as we can see, the SkySat deployed from the Starlink payload, from because the SkySat was placed on top of the ground. And we could also see that at the time of deployment, the Starlink was not performing any spin maneuver, and right now I can also see that it is not spinning. I don't know why. Hopefully it will spin or what, I don't know. But yeah, spinning is required to separate those Starlink satellites. Otherwise, I don't know how will they. They will just need to rely on every other forces which act on the payload. So okay, so yeah, this was bound to happen, and now we'll just have a look at this Earth view, because the why did we lose the stream? We lost the stream because we didn't have any ground control, ground track, ground station, which from which we can have the signal of the things, the second stage in the orbit. That's why we will again have the signal back once we what is this? Once we are in the region where the network can be established from the ground station, and that he mentioned was San Diego, and yeah, here we have. Okay, we are getting the signal, no problem. That's a good thing. Otherwise, but the only thing I'm worried about is why is it not spinning? Because I can't see the spin right now, and if it won't spin, then how would it be able to separate? They forget to spin because they spun it first time, and when they deployed they didn't spin it, and now nothing is happening. Hopefully my view is not able to catch the spin, but it is spinning, and I want that only because I don't want this to be a bad mission deployment. That's why. So right now we're just waiting for it to get to a location correct location in the orbit, I should say. Yeah, and then we'll deploy it. So that's the thing. Right now, just enjoy the views of the space. Should say that only. But man, what a beautiful launch today! What a beautiful launch! Seriously, how can someone means I haven't seen such a launch. The the Starlink 7 mission was also like this only. I was telling to my viewers that I haven't seen such a launch for the Starlink 7 mission, and then again for this mission, I haven't seen such a spectacular launch. We were able to see such a beautiful sightings of the launch, and then the deployment, phase separation, re-entry, and whatnot. And then the SkySat deployment too. We weren't hopeful to see those deployment, but we actually saw that, and that's a good thing to know. Guys, I was like, wow, man, wow. I want to go there one day. I was like that. Yeah, one more thing. If you are thinking that it is moving so slow, why can't it move so fastly? For your information, it is right now moving at 17,500 miles per hour. That's the orbital velocity, around 17,500 miles per hour. And if you convert into kilometers per hour, just imagine it is right now moving at 7 to 7.2 kilometers per second. And that's why you must be seeing like the Earth is moving so slow from the behind, but the area which is covering each second is so great, because the space station, if I consider the space station, okay, that completes one orbit around 45 minutes. So that means in 45 minutes it is able to revolve all around the Earth. That's the speed of that space station. Okay, that's the speed. In 45 minutes we just can't go from one place to another. Hope max to max in 45 minutes we'll be able to cover the distance around 50 to 60 kilometers, and in orbit it covers whole Earth. Earth. That's the beauty of orbital mechanics. But yeah, that also means that we need to have so much of fuel in that so that we reach that speed and don't fall back to Earth. I'm pretty much now worried also because I can't see the spin. I don't know what they are playing right now. Are we having, as we can see, right, Starlink deployment marker is there on the timeline right now. But yeah, why can't I see the spin? If we are able to see the deployment, then we'll be able to know whether it was spinning or not. Because during deployment, these Starlink satellites, little bit they separate, and but we are not expected to see the live view of that. So fingers crossed for that, because seriously, man, today everything was unexpected. Everything was unexpected, but all that happened unexpected was for good. So that's a good sign. We're just waiting for the Starlink to deploy, and once it deploys, the feed will end. I think so. Right now, you can see it is going to above Europe, if I'm not wrong, right? Going above Europe, if I'm not wrong. And that blue line, if I'm not wrong, is the equatorial line. No, no, no. I don't know what is that. Because I should research on it. I'll tell you in the next launch what is that, because every time we see that line, but we don't know what is that. So I'll have my research on it and I'll tell you in the next time whenever we have a starting SpaceX launch. We are getting close to starting deployment. And I just love the view. Really. So good. Now it has started spinning. Yeah, I was right. I was right. Now it has started spinning. It was not spinning at that time, but now we can see it has started spinning, and that's what we want. So, yeah, it was all planned. They never forget anything. Of course, they're a rocket company. They forget forget the such a small thing also, then it can cost millions and billions of dollars. So they don't want that to happen. That's why we have come down to establish and to know that everything is going good, and now we can see the spin. True, we need that to separate those satellites. Let's just hope this spin will separate. We know, because this is a proven technology. Because of the centripetal or centrifugal, from whatever view you are looking from, uh, it will separate. Because velocity is also you can, if you want to understand by that, or you can understand by the centripetal or centrifugal force. If you are more of a physics kind of a guy or girl, then you know what happens in decreasing or increasing radius of centripetal or centrifugal force. That's what is happening here. That's why they are just spinning it around. That is such a good method, because it actually decreases the mass which is used to separate all those mass. It means the mass which is the machinery. If I say layman, the machinery That's the thing which we'll be able to see. I want to see that. I don't know about you, but I want to see that. So we every day see the deployment, but we don't see what happens after the deployment. Since the satellites have deployed, once we get the signal, then we are T plus 27 minutes up, right? And now it's just boosting. That line is something I don't know. I'm trying to guess or make a good guess. What is this blue line? This is not equator for sure. Let's see what is there. Guys, just subscribe and like this video and wait for the thing to come again live. For the thing again video, just subscribe. And that rocket launch is basically that's the Japanese one and that's the private company. And that private company is a fan of anime. So you can just think of what will happen. They'll actually have a match for this anime. So you just see what happens in that. So I'll be there with you. I'll be there with that. It will be in English, but still it's okay. I'm there. I'll try to do my best to explain everything. But we didn't get the mission control audio. Actually, they cut the mission control audio. That's why, because it needs, when this music comes, the voice gets cut down. The SpaceX also have the mission control audio like sure they have open in that Starlink Satellites have it now. As we can, otherwise the timeline would also have not been moved forward. That moves forward once we have the that event. That tell me guys, is Starlink or the space-tuned Falcon 9 rocket moving above your house or not? Do you live in that part of area? Comment down below. If you do, you won't be able to see it from your naked eye. You won't be able to see it. But yeah, it's having a feeling that is going above my head. I am now update to be able to see the Starlink satellites on the view. Will they, because the time which they are taking, it is taking, not they are taking, it is taking to resume the live stream. That is too much, and I'm afraid to start let's go far away from the camera, so the camera can pick it up. So just normally don't do like this because today we had the SkySat satellite tube on with the Starlink Satellites. That's why they had to cut. They had to go with some another trajectory. That's why we are unable to like the. Otherwise, whenever they launch it only the satellite, then it doesn't. Predicted element because we must not be getting telemetry right now. Must be getting I'm not a rocket scientist, so we may or may not be getting a telemetry. That's not a big issue, but we can see it moving because that could be a predicted one or could be actual one. Because since it is in a orbit, so it is very easy to predict where it will go because there is no other forces acting. Although there is some very little atmospheric drag which happens, but for such a small time it is negligible. So yeah, we can easily predict where it will go. So we don't need telemetry for it. Once we just get the signal, then we can just assure that everything works. View of India behind it, you can see it, and hopefully in 2 to 3 orbits it will pass over India too, because the 2 to 3 no wait where it west first. No, it won't pass. It is yeah. How could I? So yeah, it won't pass to India right now, but I have to view in the background right now. Because the Earth will rotate in another direction. That's why. Guys, it's just subscribe, and check out my other videos too on the channel I have made. It's for you guys. It is very informative. And share this feed and share my channel with your friends too. They also get to know there is one more and a great channel on the YouTube covering all these space related topics.
Welcome back to the webcast for Starlink. So before we went to a break, we saw the successful deployment of the 3 SkySat satellites, which were ride-sharing with Starlink. At T plus 26 minutes, our 58 Starlink satellites were set to deploy. Since we did not have ground station coverage at that time, we are currently waiting to connect with the next ground station, Diego Garcia, at T plus 39 minutes, so in about 30 seconds here, and get confirmation of a successful deployment. So we're just under 30 seconds away from connecting to that next ground station, and we'll be waiting for our teams to confirm deployment after we connect. So we're going to listen in here shortly and see if we have confirmation of our 58 Starlink satellites deployed.
I think that was that shake which you saw was
acquisition of signal, Diego Garcia.
Because of the
is that confirmation of connection to the ground station?
Starlink tension rod separation confirmed.
Okay.
And there is that confirmation of the tension rods deployed and the Starlink satellites deployed today. So after they deployed, shortly after they deployed, their solar arrays deployed as well, and over the next few days and weeks, they will distance themselves from each other with that momentum created by the second stage and use their onboard ion thrusters to make their way to their operational orbit of 550 kilometers above the Earth, and then start beaming down high-speed internet to Earth. As you may have seen during our last mission, we launched the first Starlink satellite with a deployable visor to block sunlight from hitting the brightest spots of the spacecraft. This demo satellite, also known as VisorSat, is just one of the many actions SpaceX has taken in collaboration with leading astronomical groups to mitigate the effects of satellite reflectivity. That first VisorSat has not yet reached its operational orbit, so we are still a few weeks away from seeing the results of that effort. However, we do have confidence in this design, coupled with all the measures we're taking to minimize Starlink's reflectivity. So we plan to equip all future Starlink satellites with deployable visors, starting with the next mission later this month. That will be the 9th flight of our latest iteration of the Starlink satellite design. If you want to learn more about our work with leading astronomers to protect the natural night sky for all to enjoy, you can visit the updates section of SpaceX.com. And now that brings our webcast to a close. If you're interested in getting future updates about Starlink launches, as well as general updates about future service availability, head over to Starlink.com, sign up for updates, and we'll see you at the next launch.
So guys, today we witnessed a spectacular launch and we didn't see the deployment, but it's okay, no problem. That happens. But we, in replacement of that, we got to see such a beautiful launch. So we saw the fuel loading was completed, and then at T-0 seconds, the Falcon 9 rocket lifted off from the pad. After that, we saw beautiful views of the 9 Merlin engine just firing up itself so that it goes above the atmosphere, and the vehicle passed max q. After passing the max q, we saw MECO 2. MECO is the main engine cutoff, and the stage separation. After the stage separation, everything just changed. We had so beautiful views of the second stage, of the first stage. First stage was like getting the sunshine, the sun rising from the horizon, and it was getting the sunshine directly from that. And that was such a pure one because nothing was blocking it, so it was a good thing. And we even saw the nitrogen gas droplets. We can't see that because nitrogen gas thrusters are there, and I don't know, was it the droplets of the nitrogen gas or was it the ice droplets, but whatever, we saw some droplets coming out from there. And then after that, we didn't lose the signal during the entry burn. That's a good thing. After that, the entry burn started, the vehicle coasted down to the drone ship, and at the drone ship we didn't lose the signal. We saw all the landing of the Falcon 9 first stage, and we had a successful first stage landing. That was so good. Yes, Ken, it was such an excellent stage one landing. I just this was the best mission I've ever witnessed in my life till now. That's the thing. And yeah, then after that we saw the beautiful, cute little CubeSats of the SkySat basically, who deployed from the Starlink, and then we didn't see the Starlink deployment, but yeah, we get the confirmation of the tension rod deployment. That tension rod separation, that means we had the deployment. So yeah, that was it for today, guys. But not today, because I am coming with another stream at 4:13 EDT, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again at that time. Till then, stay safe.